Shalom. We have Brother Shem here. Shalom over Brother Cyrus here once again. We just copped my brother's latest book. What is the higher self? So more, you just asked him more question. What was that question?
Yeah, I was asking if you could give me a brief, even first, give us a summary of some of the other books that you wrote. I'm gonna ask you, I'm curious about this one, but you know, you said you were an author. You wrote a couple of different books, right?
Yeah. Actually, when I first started, the first book I wrote before I joined the temple. The name of that book was called Land of the Free. Achieving freedom through sustainable community. And at that time, my focus was really on trying to help our people get into the idea of having our own land and building a community based on sustainable energy, living off the grid, things of that nature. And that was kind of an inspiration due to my previous learning, the school that I went through. Under Dr. York, we was talking about it earlier. The fact that one of the things that he did was he focused on having a colony, if you will. You know, we know the Prophet Noble Ali spoke about us having our own land, and there was a large colony that was built. And we have, well, he took that from the Prophet, and he started a land called Tamaray. And I was around during that time, so that was kind of an inspiration at that time. So that was part of my journey.
Nice.
Okay.
So what other books? Wait, how long did you study with Imam Isa?
I studied with Imam Isa back. I read his first book when I was around 14. So I took my Shahada at the Ansar Allah community when I was 15 in '88.
Wow. So
in
wow.
Bushwick, Brooklyn. Yeah.
It's long. Okay, so you was with him when he was in Brooklyn. I was about to say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long you been into science? More Science Simple America?
More Science Simple America officially this coming April will make 3 years.
3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd you first hear about it? You got it from you heard about it through Brother Malachi York?
Yeah, the first book I've ever read about the Prophet was called Who Was Noble Ali?
Who was Noble Ali?
So that was my first introduction to the Prophet. But I knew of the Prophet, Islam, and but I never really knew what he taught. I didn't know the in-depth knowledge of what he taught. My interest in more science came into play around 2008 when I moved to North Carolina, which happens to be the birthplace where the Prophet was born. Born in the state of North Carolina in 1886. And it was just some things that just drew me to want to know about Noble Ali.
You studied by yourself, or you studied with a temple or another group?
Well, initially when I started by myself. I started, and I went through the whole demonstration of a lot of Moors, seeing those videos about other Moors who wasn't in the temple, you know. So I had to kind of stumble through that.
Islam.
But praise Allah, I came across a brother who was in the temple in North Carolina, and he introduced me to the Grand Governor of the temple that I'm in now, in Durham, North Carolina, a brother by the name of Robert Stonell.
Brother Stonell.
Yeah, good brother.
Praise Allah.
And
So you study in the temple more. Praise Allah.
Yeah, so I went to the temple and joined and never left.
Tell me about the other books that you made. So you mentioned the one about the, building community.
Yes, it was called Land of the Free.
Land of the Free.
And the one I did after that, which was my first book dealing with more science, was called Who Is Elohim?
Fun.
The interesting thing about what sparked me to do that, because when I read the Moore's questionnaire, of course that's one of the questions. Who is Elohim?
Elohim is the seventh creator spirit, everything that ever was, is, and evermore will be.
Yes. Amen. And it resonated with me because at that time, of course, as I mentioned, I came under the teachings of Dr. York. Dr. York, at that time, back in '92, he put out a video called Elohim. And when I saw that video, you know, I had never heard of Elohim. So when I came across that pamphlet, and keep in mind that pamphlet came out in the 1920s, the Moorish questionnaire, and he asking the question, "Who is Elohim?" It blew my mind, because prior to that, I was like, no one else was talking about Elohim before him. I was under that false impression, but I knew. But when it struck me that the prophet was actually teaching on this before anybody, I said, I got to look further into it.
Right. So now you got, this book is called What is the Higher Self?
Yes.
Circle 7 on it. So tell us a little bit, what is the, what separates, what's different from this and the book about the Elohim, or how did you come to want to make this book, and how would you describe it?
Yeah, it's basically a continuation of who is Elohim, in the sense that, one, that is also a question on the questionnaire, what is the higher self? The higher self is the
mother of virtues and the harmonies of life, who breeds justice, mercy, love, and right.
And also, when we deal with Elohim, we're talking about 7 created spirits. So we're dealing with the divine part of the movement. The fact that we're dealing with the spiritual part, what some people in the conscious community would say more of the metaphysical teachings.
Islam.
So this kind of expounds on it. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to produce literature for the Moors, on behalf of the Moors, I should say, that touches deep into the divine aspect of the movement. And we have a divine and national movement. And all of it is important, because we know that our creed of Islam is for our earthly and divine salvation. I noticed that when I was looking a lot through, the material that's been put out, videos, lectures, there's a lot of focus on the national side.
Right.
Which, while it's important, that's just one part. And I felt, in my experience being in the temple, a lot of Moors came into the temple, proclaiming their nationality and trying to make it synonymous with sovereignty, UCC, demonstration, Islam, and other different things, but they wasn't building their character.
Right.
If we even look at the definition of nationality according to law, it is that quality or character that arises from the fact of one belonging to a nation. So if you don't have quality and character, then you don't have a nationality. So having a nationality card is just that, a nationality card. That is not your nationality. Nationality is how you conduct yourself.
I always say a lot of the Moors that, they call them the farmers versus tillers, the tiller versus the miner, farmer versus miner. They grab little aspects of Moorish science and they run out the door with it. Those are the ones that grab their cars and run out the door and they run into the courts with it. And they don't understand that the treasure is moving in unison, moving in unity. And developing your actual, staying in the temple, developing your actual character. Because a lot of the stuff that the laws are built to protect, it's almost, or have to fit a certain type of character. So if you don't have the character, it doesn't even matter that you can drag and have the law if you don't even match with the law. So you're absolutely right. That's a very powerful statement. So
and I would say this, Islam, and I would definitely want to give Brother Shem due honors, because one of the issues in the Moorish Science Temple of America with respect to new members, they come in and read those 2 little pamphlets. And there's not a lot of commentary on the knowledge that's contained in the pamphlets. So they say that, oh, this is simple, that's just some simple little monotonous little thing that y'all doing here, because not enough qualified and consecrated sheiks and divine ministers have produced works full of commentaries on the Prophet's teachings. So I definitely want to give you due honors for embarking upon that very needed mission. And what is the higher self? We read that every Sunday in Sunday school. But now we have a full work by one of our own who's been consecrated, properly prepared, not just upon coming to the Moorish Science Temple, but prepared even way before that, as we've learned, you know what I'm saying? Because truth is but one. So definitely want to give you honors, Brother Shem, for the work that you're doing in that regard, because it is filling a void. A lot of Moors attaching themselves to foreign doctrines because they're looking for commentaries on the Prophet's literature. So to fill that void, they're attaching themselves to what's available.
That's true.
So it's definitely incumbent upon us as Ali's men, as more sheiks and divine ministers, to get busy producing works for the people, for their study and their edification.
It's a good book. Some science in it. I ain't gonna even reveal it all. You got to cop one.
Praise Allah.
Praise Allah.
Islam.
Islam.
All right.